17 deadline live stream. My name is Callum, aka FPL Nacho, and I'm here to answer any of your last minute game week 17 questions. I know it's 5 PM UK time, the deadline isn't until 6:30, but I'm going to be here for the next 45 minutes answering any of your last minute questions. Of course, we have big topics to discuss, like the absence of Erling Haaland going into game week 17. We've got big returns like a Christopher Nkunku. Could he be a differential for some FPL managers in the game? And also just any particular specific questions you have for your own side. And also we need to deep dive into my own team. So I will be taking most likely a -4 this week, and I might even do it on this live stream, so you want to make sure you stick around for that one. As always, thank you so much for getting involved on this live stream. If you can drop a like on the stream, it'd be massively appreciated. And as I always say, if you aren't a subscriber already, give it a go over the festive break. And then if you don't enjoy it, you can simply unsubscribe from the channel. We're aiming for, I believe, 11,500 subscribers before the end of this live stream. I'm like 20 away. If you're not already a subscriber, it'd be awesome if you could drop a subscription. Apologise for the get up here. I've got this kind of like Christmassy thing on. Ignore it. It is what it is on these streams. So get yourself in the comments, let me know if you're here. JP, hope you're doing well, mate. JP and JT, Dawn, hope you're doing well. Cool boy, Prangers Mash, Thomas, JP again, Purple Snake, guys, hope you're doing really well. Let's get straight into the questions, then we'll come on to my team reveal and what I'm planning to do in my team. Because of course, if you don't know already, Pep Guardiola had his press conference and he basically said that Erling Haaland is going to be ruled out for game week 17. There's quite a few differing quotes. Some say that he's definitely ruled out. Others kind of say he might be available. The way I'm looking at it right now, he's a major doubt going into game week 17. And realistically, we know that information. So if we do end up having him bench for game week 17 or doesn't feature at all, it's a lot of money to have in your team when you know he already was a major doubt. So for me, it's enough to get rid of him because he blanks in game week 18. And then we can look to bring him back in either game week 19 or in game week 20 and use someone like a Mo Salah, because in 21 he'll be going to AFCON, to free up funds to invest as a Haaland replacement. So without further ado, let's get straight into the questions and then I will show you guys my team. Again, if you're new on the stream, please do consider becoming a subscriber. As I said, we are 30 or 20 away from 11,500. I had a bit of a goal to hit that before the end of the year. So if we could do it a couple of weeks beforehand, that would be absolutely sensational. So let's get into the comments. JP, hi mate, start Gordon with his injury doubt or -4 for Alvarez in for Haaland. Okay, so JP, the first question you need to ask yourself is, what is your team going to be looking like for game week 18 because they blank? So you are buying a player in Alvarez who looks fantastic for this week, but game week 18, of course, blanks. Is that going to have a bit of a negative impact on your side? For me, I probably would just hold Gordon because he looks good after this game week, but I get it. Alvarez is probably one of the best assets to own this week if you can buy him in, but I probably would just hold on to Julian Alvarez. But what I will say to you is I'll be selling Haaland regardless. So you need to replace Haaland in my eyes for your team. JTC and bench Shimmercast, I think you've covered that one off, mate. Dawn, what do I do? Have one free transfer and 0.8 million in the bank. My team is Areola, Dubravka, Taylor, Pedro Porro, Shimmercast, Cash, Saliba. Okay, so you have one free transfer. End of the day, I'm going to say to you, Haaland to Watkins or Solanke is definitely the route that you need to go for right now. The problem is, with 0.8 million in the bank, I think you're a little bit short of Ollie Watkins. And if that is the case, I do think that then selling him to Solanke is a brilliant sideways move. And then you would play Dubravka in goal most likely. I think you play Pedro Porro, you play Shimmercast, and you play Saliba, Son, Saka, Gordon, Salah, Palmer, and then obviously Nunez and Solanke up top. I think that's perfectly fine for your team. Otherwise, if you can afford Watkins, that's a good enabler, obviously, as well. Cool boy, hope you're doing well. Hi, mate. At -4 for Haaland to Solanke. Realistically, I don't usually say do a -4, but when we think there is a massive injury doubt for somebody like an Erling Haaland, I do think a -4 is worthwhile. Do I think Solanke could pay it back in one game week in isolation? Maybe not. For the next 3 game weeks, I definitely think he could. And also, guys, what I want to do is chuck into the chat a bit of a poll to see who you lot are captaining in game week 17. Captain. I can't spell today. Captain. So let me know. So it's realistically, it's going to be between Salah, it's going to be between Son. I think there may be a few Saka options out there. I'm going to put other. And if you want to let me know in the comments who your other one is, just let me know and that'd be sick. Right, let me start the poll there. And again, if you just jumped on the stream, please do consider dropping a like and get your questions in the chat. Isn't one of these where I'm going to be dilly-dallying answering the questions. The plan is to answer them rapid, quick fire. Prang is Haaland to Solanke or just bench him and move Archer to Semenyo? My advice is do the Haaland to Solanke move. I think it is right. He blanks in game week 18, and I just think it is just structurally the right thing to do. You're probably sat there thinking, how am I going to get him back? Well, because of the AFCON and Asia Cup, it probably means we're going to have a lot of money to spend once these players are absent, and Haaland is an easy move back into our FPL teams. How long is Maguire out for? Thomas, I'm not too sure on that one, but I know he's definitely out for game week 17. After that, I don't think we have an actual definition on how long he is fully out for. JP, best Chelsea defender, will Gusto start? I think Gusto will start if he is back fully fit, but I don't think we have a full understanding whether he is actually 100% fit. We know he has been first team training, that's really good, and I do think he is the best 4 million defender in the game once he is fully fit, because Reece James is out for up to 3 months. So Gusto, a brilliant move, but I would like to see a few minutes in his bank. Few minutes in the tank before I actually look investing in him. But if you want to go early, I definitely think you're getting ahead of the curve, because I think a lot of managers will go to him as a bit of a defensive enabler over this festive period, because I think they need him in the team. I don't think it's working with Disasi at right back or even a Cucurella playing out of position, but of course he is absent for game week 17 as well, so I would expect Malo Gusto to play. And then Nkunku as well is a big one and a very exciting one for our teams to look to bring in. Purple Snake, I have Salah as a captain, but being a Spurs fan, I feel I should captain Son. Which one should I captain? Okay, so right now, in terms of captaincy, the way I'm ranking them is going to be Mo Salah at number 1. I think he is the best option. I would have Son 2 and Bukayo Saka 3. I think Saka is a brilliant option, but he doesn't right now in the game have that huge ceiling where I'm seeing those double-digit hauls. We're seeing that with Son and Salah, and I think that is the route that I would rather go for. Now, I say that regarding Salah for double-digit hauls, but he's only had okay, he's had 5, so he's had decent returns, whereas Bukayo Saka's, I would argue, is a little bit less. The most he's had is a 13-pointer in game week 6. Other than that, it's a 10-pointer, and there's a lot of 8s. So I do think Son and Salah are slightly more explosive players, which you definitely want to be going for. Immortal Technique, hope you're doing well, my friend. Jay Mystery saying, Son, Saka, Sterling, Bowen, Watkins, vice captain. I would go for Son. Guarantee starter and a great fixture against Nottingham Forest. But end of the day, I think Salah is definitely playing unless we got some sort of weird virus or something going around. And for those wondering about what to do with your Erling Haaland move, I think it's probably safe to do it now. But what I will say to you is there is a few accounts out there who are quoting that they have some sort of Man City team leaks. One of those being that FPL Tony, if you haven't seen him on Twitter. So it might be worth actually just waiting a bit closer to the deadline. But what I will say is, when a player like Erling Haaland, one of the most owned players in the game, is being sold by everybody, it does put a little bit of strain on the server. So I would just say to you, be cautious, because the game could crash later on. Just checking out to see if there's any news, but there isn't right now, so that's absolutely fine. So yeah, let's get straight back into the chat. And again, if you can drop a like and subscribe, it'd be massively appreciated. I'm going to answer a couple more, then we're going to get into my team to show you what I'm currently planning on doing, because I am an Erling Haaland owner and I also don't have Ollie Watkins, so this could be a little bit dangerous this week. Temkin saying about Haaland, hopefully I've covered that off, mate. Hi mate, who can I start, Sanchez or Dubravka? Well, Sanchez is ruled out for this week, so Dubravka is your answer there. Do you want to say, hey Nacho, hope you're doing well, doing very well, my friend, hope you are too. -4 to get Pedro Porro in. The question to that is, who are you selling for the -4? That is the big question, but I think Pedro Porro is one of the best options in the game that you can bring in. Is Anthony Gordon starting? He is going to be touch and go for the weekend. Now, Eddie Howe said that he recovers really well. It is a slight hamstring knock, but he's not ruled him out completely. So what I will say is try and make sure you do have a strong first bench, because you'll see my team in a minute. If I don't take a -4, I'll end up having Mark Guy come on away against Man City, and that really doesn't feel like a strong position to be in. So I do think being in a good, strong position for this week in the case of Gordon being out is a really, really sensible move. Harry saying, am I too crazy for keeping Haaland on the bench and upgrading my third striker to Solanke? I have Watkins too. No, so I don't think it's crazy. All I'll say is, if he doesn't play game week 17, he's not playing game week 18 because of the blank, and then you have game week 19 where you might get to it and be like, oh, is he playing? Is he not? His price is going to plummet, it's worth noting, because he's so highly owned. His price is going to skyrocket down now, like fall. So just be cautious that you are going to own him as his price continues to fall each and every day that passes in the lead up to that game week 19. Because if people haven't sold him in game week 17, I can guarantee you we'll get to game week 18, people will go on their phones and be like, oh, Haaland's blank and I didn't realise. And then all of a sudden they sell him once again. So there's going to be a lot of sales for Haaland. It's not mad, but I just think now it is a good time to sell him and spread the funds elsewhere in your team. Who are the best replacements of Haaland if you already have Solanke and Watkins? Okay, so I think Alvarez is a brilliant pick, but you do need to remember the blank game week 18, so do be cautious of that. You could go Darwin Núñez, but as a Darwin Núñez owner, it's not a fun experience at all. So I will say be very cautious if you want to go there. Outside of that, you're in a bit of a tricky situation where what you could do maybe is downgrade Haaland to then upgrade other areas in your team. But if you have Watkins, if you have Solanke, I'm looking at the fixtures coming up and I don't think there are any that scream out. And Nkunku would be a brilliant differential if you want to go there, but it's way too early to invest in someone like an Nkunku. So outside of that, I don't really like too many other options. So maybe Alvarez could be a 1 week punt for your team. Is Pickford a good option to rotate with Dubravka? I'm wildcarding. I would need to check the fixture ticket to see if they work well together, but I don't think it's a bad move at all. I don't think it's a bad rotator. So, look, let me just get up my team for you guys to show you what we are looking at right now. Don't worry, we'll come back to the questions, so do not jump off the stream. I am just here to show you my team and my current plans because I haven't actually made any transfers right now. So, here's how the team's looking with one free transfer, 1.9 million in the bank, currently ranked 299,000th in the world. So I'm in a decent spot, but it feels a very dangerous position to be in going into this game week because as you can see, I do not own Ollie Watkins. Now, the sensible move for this game week would be to do Erling Haaland to Ollie Watkins and just have him in as a cover ownership pick. But of course, then it means I don't have Dominic Solanke at home against Luton, which I really do want to have a piece of that as well. But with my team structure, it doesn't really make any sense doing Haaland to Watkins and Mabama to an Alvarez, for example, Solanke. It just doesn't really make any sense for my team personally. So I'm in a bit of a crossroads whether I go for the sensible move in Ollie Watkins, because I know I want him for game week 18, or go for Dominic Solanke, who's a bit of the community pick right now. And the big deliberation is, could Darwin Núñez match Ollie Watkins this week? And I've been hoping he could do it each and every week, and he's failed to do so, mainly because of that monster haul from Ollie Watkins a few game weeks ago. So Darwin Núñez has been a bit of a disaster, but when I look at the fixture at home against Man United, he could be a fantastic differential. And I say that through gritted teeth because I know he is a bit of a disaster when it comes to an FPL option, but I'm hoping he can finally deliver. So at the time of recording right now, I am planning on doing Erling Haaland to Dominic Solanke and avoiding Ollie Watkins for one more game week. I'm begging to the gods, the FPL gods, that I can get away with one more week without owning Ollie Watkins. Now, away against Brentford, they have a lot of injuries, but I don't ever feel like Brentford are a team that get battered. And I also do think with Aston Villa, Leon Bailey a little bit of a doubt going into the weekend, and he's been a very important player for them. And also, the absence of Douglas Luiz with his 5 yellow cards. McGinn's been fantastic. Obviously, Kamara's been fantastic. But Douglas Luiz gives them that box-to-box midfield that I don't think they can replace in the team. So I'm not sitting here saying Ollie Watkins can't do well. I think he's a phenomenal option this week. But for my team right now, I think Solanke makes more sense than Ollie Watkins when I look at it as a a 1 week punt. So I'm going to show you what my team looks like as I plan through it, because I am going to take a -4, I think, as well, and just give you a bit of a long-term perspective, and then we'll come back into the questions. So if I come into the planner here, let me have a quick sip of the coffee just to give me the old boost that I need. Hopefully you all can see this. So just to give you a bit of an idea, I'm going to go for the double Newcastle defence. I think I'm just going to roll with it. I think Livramento definitely starts because of Trippier's suspension. He'll play at right back, and then it'll be Dan Burn or Lewis Hall at left back. So I think that's definitely the route to go for. And then we'll be looking at Saliba and Gabriel together at the back. I actually fancy them to get a clean sheet against Brighton a little bit controversially. However, the problem with my team right now, if I was to do the Haaland to Solanke move that I have suggested, so let's just make that right now. Dom Solanke in. If I was to leave my team like that without a -4 and Anthony Gordon wasn't to play, then I have Mark Guy coming in as my first sub, and that doesn't really fill me with much confidence going into game week 17. I know a lot of managers are taking a lot of points hits, and for my own team, I feel like I am not taking an opportunity to spread the funds with the Haaland money. So that's the current plan of doing Haaland to Solanke, and that's how the team looks. But with a -4, I then intend on selling Mark Guy to a player that I've wanted for so many weeks. And I honestly think I've been getting away with murder. The fact that he hasn't damaged me in terms of overall rank is going to be Pedro Porro. Now, we look at his returns here, and honestly, anyone that's watched the games, it's unbelievable that he hasn't got more returns. 5-pointer against Newcastle, but it was a last-minute goal conceded. Otherwise, he was on for like a 12-pointer. The West Ham game, I don't know how he didn't get more points than that. City is City, obviously. But then the Aston Villa game, a 5-pointer. And the Wolves game conceded 2 goals in added time. That was another 12-pointer or 10-pointer for him. So I feel like I've gotten away with murder. And I feel like the opportunities of me getting lucky are getting thinner and thinner by the game week. So this is the time for me to bring him in. I would have tempted by Trippier, but obviously he's suspended and it's not the right time to go him. So Pedro Porro makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of traction towards Trent Alexander-Arnold, and I get it. I think he's a brilliant option. But firstly, he's like 3 million more expensive than Pedro Porro. The fixtures coming up, United, Arsenal, Newcastle, Chelsea, Arsenal away again. I get it. The output from Trent is fantastic, and if he does anything, it's likely going to be a double-digit return. I can't justify paying 8.2 million for him. I just think it's me being greedy with the money that I have available. So this would be for a -4. I would then bench Gabriel because even though I back the Arsenal clean sheet this weekend, I kind of want that flexibility with my team, knowing that I do have a solid first bench. And it also means that I've got Pedro Porro for the long term because this is a player that I want basically between now and game week 38 as long as no injuries arise. And he continues to play in that inverted fullback position, getting in between the lines. So this is how the team would look, and I'll be really happy with it. Ollie Watkins is obviously the massive absentee from this team, and I get it. I'm going to be sitting behind a sofa after that weekend game. But if I can get away with this week, I'm really happy with the structure of the team. So then going into game week 18, obviously we have the blank game week, but I don't own any players that blank. And the reason why I wanted to do the Solanke move is because I want him for the Nottingham Forest game as well. And then we have Darwin Núñez at home against Arsenal. And this is the perfect opportunity for me to then sell Darwin Núñez as long as he doesn't score a hat-trick and make me tempted to keep him, to then bring in Ollie Watkins at 8.5 million. And then my team would look like this with the one free transfer. And I'll be pretty content with it. Saliba away against Liverpool isn't great, but it's a blank game week end of the day. And you can't own all of the fantastic players in the game. So that's how my team would look, and I'll be pretty content with it. Now, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I think it works well for me. Yes, I could probably build my team a little bit better, maybe do Ollie Watkins this week and maybe a Pau Torres in preparation for game week 18, but my mind is set on Pedro Porro as just a long-term pick for my team. So let me go back to my pick team here, and let's answer some more of your questions. I do apologise if I've ignored any recently. It is just because I was going through my team. And again, if you are new to the stream, please do consider dropping a like and hitting that subscribe button. As I mentioned, I'm aiming for around, well, the target was to hit 11,500 on stream. I don't think we are going to do it, but it'd be awesome if we could. If you're not a subscriber already, please do consider doing so. It'd be awesome to have you over this festive period. And then if you don't enjoy it, as I say to everybody, then you can obviously unsubscribe. No hard feelings whatsoever. So let's get through some of these questions here. Salah, I think, is the best captain this week by a considerable distance in my eyes. I think Man United are there for the taking this weekend. Shah or Shimikas to start this weekend? I probably would go for Shah. I probably would just go for Fabian Shah. Watkins or Solanke for a -4. Look, Nico, I think in this position you're similar to myself where I'm going to wait for one more week for Ollie Watkins. I know it's a big risk. I think if you want to play the ownership card, you go for Ollie Watkins. Otherwise, I think Solanke is a solid move, but you obviously need to go for your own specific team and get an understanding whether Ollie Watkins is essential. For me, I'm going to wait one more week. For a -4 hit, Son and Watkins in for Haaland and which of Gordon or Bowen? To be honest with you, I wouldn't really want to be selling either, but I'd have to say Gordon in this situation just because Bowen is actually fully fit this weekend, and I wouldn't want to be selling him knowing that he has a fully fit fixture at home against Wolves. So if Bowen isn't the sell, I think it would be Gordon in that situation. Cool boy saying, I remove Son for Bowen. Should I bring him back next week? I'm too scared that Son pulls a masterclass. Okay, so obviously I'm not a big fan of that move, but my main worry for you, if you were to make the move in game week 18, you're only getting 3 fixtures worth of games for Son, because then in game week 21, he will be away with the Asia Cup. Now, I like the move, and I probably would do it because these 3 fixtures he could do fantastic in. Everton, Brighton and Bournemouth defensively aren't necessarily watertight, but obviously it's not ideal because then come game week 21, you will then need to sell him once again because he will be missing multiple games. He might miss game week 21, 22, 23, maybe even 24. So just be cautious of that. If you do buy him back in, you're going to have to sell him once again in game week 21. After this game week, who would be the better James replacement, Trent or Trippier? Realistically, we'll address that when we get there, but I think it'll be Trippier, to be honest with you. I think he's just guaranteed minutes, and I think Newcastle defence is a bit more consistent than the Liverpool defence, and I think Trippier is just as good for Trent in terms of output. I've covered those off. Ariel or Dubravka is a start. I'm going for Dubravka personally, but I think it is very close, but I just haven't seen enough from the West Ham defence to be confident that they can ever keep a clean sheet. Sell Trippier? Realistically, no. I wouldn't be going for selling Trippier unless you really needed a starter in your team, because after this game week, just to give you an indication, I'll just use Livramento as an example, you then got Luton away, Forest at home, then we got some tricky fixtures here, but then we come back to Luton, Forest, Bournemouth. I think Trippier is just a long-term hold if you own him and you just accept that there are a few tricky fixtures, but Luton and Forest to come are brilliant fixtures for someone like a Trippier. Should I get Son or Trippier next week for Sterling? I will be able to save a transfer in the future, but I'm not sure. Okay, so Son is definitely the answer here, but again, we know that Son is going to be absent from game week 21 due to the Asia Cup. Don't think that should put you off. I still think Son is the man, and then we look to transition to Richarlison once we know that he is definitely playing in the team regularly in the absence of Son as a forward, which obviously is going to happen at some point. Do I like Gabriel Porro for -4? Well, that's a move that I don't think I would do personally, because I do expect Arsenal to keep a clean sheet this weekend. I know that's controversial, but I just think Brighton are going to be a little bit cooked going into this weekend. And I think with a rested Arsenal team, they're in a really good position. So Gabriel Porro for -4, I don't love it. I only like it if you already have another Arsenal defender and you've got some coverage for later down the line. Is it worth a free hit this week? I think your team would have to be in a really bad position to consider a free hit. I think there's going to be better opportunities later in the season. But again, if you're in a position where you need to free hit, I think you can pull the trigger. If I was building a team, it probably would look something like Ederson in goal, Pedro Porro, Trent, and maybe Levi Colwill for a bit of Chelsea defence. Salah, Son, Saka pick themselves. And I probably would then go for a Phil Foden potentially with Watkins, Solanke, and probably Alvarez. That would be the 3 that I'll go for up front. I'm trying not to miss any questions here. Sorry, I'll get this back down for the team right now. Saliba or Shimikas or Colwill to start? I probably would lean towards Colwill of all of them right now. I think Chelsea are definitely going to start Colwill this weekend. Start Watkins, Darwin and Solanke, or bench one for Palmer? If so, who? To be honest with you, of those 3 that you've mentioned, I think you've probably got to start all of them. And I would bench Palmer, to be honest with you. I know that's very controversial, but the other 3 are controversial if you were to bench them. Wildcard in to get Trent, Porro, Pau Torres, Solanke and Pickford in. Don't mind it at all, Jack. Hopefully that does pay you off. Alan, I missed your question, sorry. I have Salah, Bowen, Palmer, Son and Gordon in the midfield. Darwin, Solanke and Isak up front. Who should I bench? Wow, you're in a really tricky spot. To be honest with you, I probably would go for Gordon to bench just because of the injury concerns. He might come on for a 20-minute cameo at the end. And I think Isak is probably good to go this weekend, considering Callum Wilson started in that AC Milan game. Calvin, hope you're doing well, mate. Triple captain Salah, mate, wish me luck. Liverpool fan. Trips, He-Chan and Haaland out. Trent, Son and Solanke in. Let's go. Mate, I wish you all the best for that one. I think the Salah triple captain could be glorious against Man United. So I don't mind that at all, buddy. Hopefully that pays off. I'll keep a mental note of the transfers you made as well. Mohammed saying, would you take a hit for goalkeeper transfer if your goalies were Turner and Johnston? To be honest with you, I don't really like many goalkeepers out there. I'd probably just play Turner and hope for the best, to be honest. I accidentally got Semenyo instead of Solanke. Oh, bro, that is killer. Obviously, I do prefer Solanke, but maybe Semenyo will step up for you. But I do believe he might be going to... Am I wrong? I think he might be going to AFCON. Let me know in the comments if I got that wrong. Opinion on Decore in midfield, not captain, just there. Decore is ticking over really nicely, so I don't mind it. He's not my favourite, but he's a player that's definitely going to remain a differential throughout the game. And for those asking for differentials, I did do a video on TikTok about players that I think are going to emerge as kind of like second half of the season essential picks, or maybe over the next 2 months. I think Malo Gusto is definitely going to be one. Richarlison at Spurs. I think Nkunku up front is going to hit the ground running for Chelsea. Wouldn't be surprised if he gets a goal and assist against Sheffield United. I think he's that good. I think he's an unbelievable player. I also think in terms of players that we need to consider going forward in the future, there was one more, and I've completely forgot who it was. Pedro Neto as well. Another player who's going to emerge as an option for our teams. But for now, they're all going to be sleeping giants until we actually get confirmation that they start for their respective teams. Should I swap Udogie for Porro? Look, I think Porro is a much better longer-term option, but would I do it? I probably wouldn't. I think there are probably other moves that you need to make in your team before making that sideways move of Udogie to Porro. But if your team looks incredible and you have no other moves that you need to make and you'll be burning a transfer, then yes, I do prefer Pedro Porro over Udogie over the longer term. Would you do Gordon to Richarlison for a -4 or just bench Gordon for Hwang? I probably would... It depends how bullish you are on Richarlison. I think a lot of people are getting very excited about him off the back of 2 goals. I still don't think he's the best finisher in the world, but I think he's a good enabler. And he's going to have to play for Spurs once Son is out. So I don't mind it, but Gordon's away against Luton the following week. I don't think you need to rush Gordon out of your team. I'd probably just keep him in bench if you are worried about his game time. Who to pick for Mbeumo? If you're selling Mbeumo, I think first and foremost, in terms of midfielders, you need to ask yourself, what price are you looking at? If you're going premiums, then obviously Son, then Saka, Salah are amazing options. Otherwise, I think Richarlison is definitely a differential that we've been speaking about in this conversation that needs to be talked about. Fabio, I hope you're doing well, mate. I sold Haaland for Watkins with my free transfer. Should I sell Anderson or Kabore for -4? Who would you be buying is the big question. But I think Anderson is a bit of a cash cow right now. I would look to sell him in your team. And I think it's a good week, if any, to take a -4. A lot of the FPL community are going to be doing so. And I think it probably is worthwhile. Now, while we're on the stream, I do want to quickly check on Twitter to see if I've missed any news regarding maybe some potential Haaland news from some accounts out there that I do know is kind of hovering around. So I'm just checking as we speak. Nothing out there. So I think we're going to assume that Haaland is going to be ruled out, or at least be happy with your decision of selling him. Now, I'm going to selfishly just ask you right now a bit of a quick question. I'm going to put a poll out just so you guys can vote on it. Let me just put a poll out on here, guys. Apologies, but I want to ask you a quick question. With my team that you can see on your screen, I want to put a few... So basically, what would you do? What would you do? And the option I'm going to give you basically all have the money in the bank to be able to afford it. So I can do my first option, which is going to be Haaland's /guy to... Sorry, I'm just so slow at typing. It's ridiculous. /Porro. And that'd be a -4, by the way. Anything that you see more than one transfer will be a -4. Then I could do Haaland /guy to Watkins /Porro. Which one of these two would you do? They're literally identical. It's just a case of, would you prioritise doing Haaland and Guy to Solanke and Porro, or would you do Haaland and Guy to Watkins and Porro? Now, as I said, the reason why I'm currently leaning more towards the Solanke move is because I got Darwin Núñez as almost my Watkins counteract a little bit, and I'm hoping he can outscore Watkins for this week. It's worth noting, for a bit of context, I will be buying Watkins in game week 18 regardless, so he's definitely coming into the team. It's just, can I get away with one more game week of no Ollie Watkins? And I'm just hoping I can, because with my team, if I go for Watkins in game week 17, I won't ever own Solanke, because once we get to game week 18, I will look at his fixtures and think, I only want you for 1 or 2 more game weeks, and I don't really think it's justifiable. So it's either, for those considering Solanke, it's now or never for him because of the home fixture against Luton. So if you don't buy him this week, you're never going to buy him. So that's the reason why I'm thinking Solanke this week, Darwin Núñez to Watkins in game week 18. But let me know your thoughts on the poll. I know it's a little bit selfish, but this is a great opportunity to take advantage of all of you great managers out there. Maybe get a little bit of an insight on what the general consensus is. And again, if you haven't already, please do consider dropping a like on the stream and subscribing if you haven't already. I had an outrageous attempt of trying to get 10 more subscribers between now and the end of the stream to hit 11,500 subscribers. I know it's a little bit out there, but if you can subscribe, it'd be absolutely sick. Siang707, I think that's the username. I do apologise. What was your plan, bro? I'm in a very similar place. Have Shimikas over Saliba, and that's about it. So for me, my team right now, I am planning on doing Haaland to Solanke and Guy to Pedro Porro, and then I'll be benching Gabriel and going for Pedro Porro alongside Livramento and Saliba. But I do think Arsenal are good for a clean sheet this weekend, a little bit controversially. It will be for a -4, and it would mean I go without Ollie Watkins for 1 more game week, but I'm hoping Darwin Núñez can deliver finally this week. If he doesn't, I'll be absolutely delighted to sell him for Ollie Watkins in game week 18 regardless. Whatever happens, Darwin Núñez is going for Ollie Watkins in game week 18. I don't care if he's got a hat-trick, he's going. Cash out for a -8. I mean, you want to sell him. I think if you're bringing in a defender that long-term looks fantastic, then yes, I do like the move, but it's only if it is a long-term move. How many minutes are Gordon going to play? I really don't know on that one. I do apologise. If I knew it, and it was 30, I probably would bench him this week, definitely. Or even consider selling, but I'd probably just bench. Jonas, I have no goalkeeper. Should I -4 for a goalkeeper or play with 10 players? Jonah, why do you not have a goalkeeper? Is this a long-term problem, or is it just for this game week? You need to let me know in the comments. Yes, I will plan to use my triple captain in a double game week later on in the season. Jackson, I'm really stuck on who to start between Pau Torres and Gabriel. That's a really tricky one, because I think there is going to be a bit of Arsenal investment in the community, whereas there'll be less Aston Villa defensive coverage in FPL. I've said controversially, I think Arsenal do keep a clean sheet, so I'm going to back them. But again, Brentford without Mbeumo, without some of the players they have, they're probably going to be quite blunt in attack. So maybe Pau Torres is the wise move. But I'm going to back Gabriel, but I might be being a bit brainwashed on my thoughts of them keeping a clean sheet this week. Replace Gordon for Palmer for -4. I just don't love it. I think Palmer is a bit of an injury doubt. It is worth noting, but I'm not a huge fan of the -4 there. Daniel, sorry to hear that, mate. -4 of Guy to Colwell. I don't mind it, but Chelsea defensively are a bit of a difficult one to predict right now. Colwell got benched last week. Chelsea could potentially build up a partnership, and Colwell isn't part of it. If I was to pick a defender, it would be Colwell, though. So I don't mind it. It just doesn't excite me. Like, for example, I'm doing Guy to Pedro Porro, and that excites me because he does have that real high ceiling of delivering week in, week out. Sanchez injury, there's no long-term update. We just know he's definitely out for game week 17. Son and Watkins in for Haaland and Gordon for a -4. Yes, I do like those moves. Oh, I've just realised the time. I do apologise. I am going to have to cut this off in 5 minutes because I do a TikTok live. So if you haven't already, please do put your question in the chat. I'll try and skim through them, try and answer the most popular ones. So please do Put your comments in the chat if you haven't already. I'm going to be going for another 5 minutes, but there are so many amazing content creators out there that you will get your question hopefully answered by some of them. But this is a great opportunity. We've got less than 100 people, so it's a little bit of a secret stream that I like keeping a little bit. Like, obviously it'd be great to have more people, but I like it when it's around this number because it means I can really get in depth for the questions that you guys are asking and hopefully answer most of them. So let's just keep going with these for another 5 minutes. Ian said, I have 2 free transfers going to go Haaland to Solanke, looking at replacing Maguire. Worth holding the transfer till next week? Well, yes, I think it is, because Shimicast, Colwell and Gabriel are fine to play this week. The only thing I would say is, could you do Maguire to Pedro Porro as a long-term move? Then I like it. Otherwise, I think the 3 that you've mentioned, you could just easily start this week. I still own Mabama stupidly. I have 2 free transfers available. Should I transfer Mabama and Haaland, which leaves me with Watkins and bring in who? Solanke as the other forward is a great option if that works for your squad. I want to keep Haaland. Keep him and bench and transfer midfield bench for Elliot answered Richarlison. The only thing I will say is with Haaland, do you think he's going to start this weekend? If it's no, just know that his price is going to fall loads. And also, he then is missing game week 18 because of a blank. So you have got a player that is going to be guaranteed missing the next 2 game weeks. So please be a bit cautious of that if you are going to keep him. But play your own way, definitely. I don't mind it. Elliot Anderson to Richarlison, yes, I don't mind that. I'm not fully sold on Richarlison yet until I actually see a bit more consistency from him. Captaincy, I'm going for Mo Salah, but I do think Son is a great pick. But Mo Salah, I just think is awesome against a Man United team who are really struggling for injuries right now. I don't have the funds to do Guy to Pedro Porro. Should I change Zinchenko to Porro instead? I think Zinchenko's a little bit of a hit and miss, but Tomiyasu injured. I don't see Kivior playing at left back all the time. Zinchenko's fixtures, I think they're okay, and he's a bonus point monster. So if they keep a clean sheet where he gets an attack and return, he is all in the money there. I don't love the move, it's worth noting, but who would I rather have over the next 6 game weeks, Zinchenko or Pedro Porro? The answer is probably Pedro Porro. So if you really are desperate for him, then yes, I would do it, but obviously I prefer Guy out, but you can't afford it. Lascelles or Kabore to start. I would go for Lascelles. What transfer do you take this week, Nico? The plan is to do Haaland to Solanke and do Mark Guy to Pedro Porro. That is the plan. I think I'm just going to accept that if Watkins scores a hat-trick, he scores a hat-trick this weekend. I'm planning on bringing him in game week 18. I could move early, but as I said, I really like the next 3 fixtures for Dominic Solanke. I think he's a brilliant option. I don't really think I want to be taking the risk of not going for him. And yeah, I think I'm just going to go there. And for those that are wondering, the account FPL Tony, the one that kind of had all this Man City team leaks over the last month, has just tweeted saying early transfers, basically, I don't talk slang like that, won't be punished this time. So to translate that, basically, Erling Haaland isn't in the Man City squad for the weekend. So you can pretty much sleep easy knowing that if you sell Haaland, he isn't playing this weekend. So that's great news for those that have already made the transfer. And that is confirmed for me that I will be making the Haaland to Solanke move. And I feel like I'm going to get it done very soon. Maybe live on the stream right now, because I do think that the more I kind of think about it, the more I'll be tempted by Ollie Watkins. But I think I'm just happy to take the punt. So you know what? We're going to wrap up the live stream, but I'm going to make the transfer on screen right now so you guys can have a little bit of an indication. So let's get straight to it. Let's just do it on stream. So let's get rid of Erling Haaland. Let's bring in... If anyone has any objections, like a wedding almost, get them in the comment section now. If you think I'm doing a terrible thing, get in the comments of this chat right now. You have 30 seconds to make your case on why I shouldn't do these moves. Otherwise, I'm pulling the trigger. So, Haaland to Dominic Solanke, and then the plan is to do Mark Guy to Pedro Porro with benching one of my Arsenal defenders. That is the intended transfer. This will be for a -4. I'm going to give you guys 20 seconds if you really are offended by these transfers to have your piece. Otherwise, I think I'm going to pull the trigger. I've been thinking about it for a while. Watkins, I would love to have. It makes sense to bring in Ollie Watkins, but sometimes you've got to play the fixture, and I think Luton at home is a fantastic fixture. And I do think Solanke is almost like a mini Watkins where he is all in it. Loads of do it. I object. Watkins is better. I do think Watkins is better. But can I hold on for one more game week? And I do think I can. Okay. Panda, I would love to bring in Nkunku massively, but I need to see the game time before doing it. Okay. I think we're doing it. Guy out for Pedro Porro. Haaland out for Solanke. No Watkins for one more week. No Watkins for one more week. $2.6 million in the bank. Keep Haaland and replace Mobama for Solanke. Save the Haaland transfer in game week 18. Mackie saying get Porro next week. Get Watkins and Solanke this week. The problem with doing Watkins and Solanke this week is then when I come into game week 18, I'm going to have a front three of Darwin, Watkins and Solanke, and it just doesn't really fit right with my team. And then if I bring in Pedro Porro, with the midfield that I've got, I don't really then have a team structure that I want to play. And what I like as well... The only problem with this transfer is if Nkunku goes off for Chelsea this weekend, Darwin Núñez is the plan to go to Watkins, but could I be tempted to do Darwin Núñez to Nkunku as a bit of a differential? And then the Watkins transfer becomes a bit of a disaster for me because I won't want to bring him in game week 18. Mewtwo, you're saying 2.6 million in the bank. Replace Mamba for something to save the Haaland transfer. I would sell Haaland, to be honest with you. If you're going to do it, you got to do it this week because if you wait another week, you're not going to sell him in game week 18 because you're only losing one game. So look, these transfers I'm making. Guy out for Pedro Porro. I want him in the team, and then Haaland out for Dominic Solanke, and then game week 18 I would then bring in Watkins for done. It's done. The deed's done. What have I done? What have I done? No Watkins for another week. -4 taken. Instant regret. No, I'm joking. I think it's fine. I just basically need Watkins not to go off. When do I need to go out for the day? 2 p.m. on Sunday. 2 p.m. on Sunday, I need to basically just not exist and hope that Watkins blanks. Okay. I think that's it. I do apologise, guys. As I said, I got to jump off this stream. I got to go on a TikTok live. So I'm going to end it now. Thank you so much for tuning in. Did we hit the subscribers? Let's just take a look. 6 away. If you're watching this right now and you're not a subscriber, please do consider we're 6 away from 11,500. It'd be awesome if you could subscribe to the channel on your way out. It'd be amazing. Go check out some other amazing content creators. There's loads out there. They will get your questions answered. I got to jump onto TikTok live now. So if you are one of those that are on TikTok, go check it out. I will be answering more questions over on there. Thank you so much once again for the support this week on the content. Obviously we're back for game week 18, so make sure you are subscribed if you're not already, because I will be dropping loads of content, and realistically, if Watkins scores a hat-trick, you're going to want to come back to see the reaction that I have. So thank you so much. I will see you guys in the next one. Have an amazing game week and obviously a great weekend. Cheers, guys.